Robert Johnson wasn't born a legend. He was born in Mississippi in 1911, a black boy in the Jim Crow South, surrounded by hardship, mystery, and secrets. His mother raised him alone after her husband fled town in disguise to escape a lynching. Robert grew up with dirt in his nails and songs forming in his chest. He didn't take to the fields like most. He found music. First on a diddley bow nailed to a shack wall. Later in the back rooms of juke joints, watching the early bluesmen bend sorrow into sound. Then came love. At 17, he married a girl named Virginia, who was 14. They were just kids. As she became pregnant, Robert gave up music. He tried to do right and tried to work, but fate didn't care about good intentions. Virginia and their unborn child died during childbirth. By the time Robert arrived, they were buried. And when her devout family saw him show up carrying a guitar, they didn't just grieve, they cursed him. They called it devil's music and blamed him for the deaths. That moment, the guilt, the grief, all of it would change him forever. After Virginia's death, Robert disappeared. Nobody knows exactly where he went or for how long. But when he returned, he wasn't the same person. He could play not like before, and not like anyone else. It was as if his fingers knew things they shouldn't, as if every sorrow he'd ever felt had been pulled through his strings. Son House, a blues legend, said it best. Before, Johnson was just a kid bothering the crowd. Now, he sounded like two men playing at once. So the whispers started, the stories and the myths, that he had gone to the crossroads at midnight, that he made a deal, that the devil had taken his soul and it left him a sound no one could explain. But there's a more grounded version of that story, though it's no less haunting. Some say Robert met a man named Ike Zimmerman, a skilled guitarist who took him in and taught him how to play. They say their favorite place to practice was a graveyard in Beauregard, Mississippi. But why there? Because it was quiet. Because nobody complained. Because the dead don't mind the blues. But in 1938, just a year after recording his first songs, Robert Johnson died. He was 27 years old. Some say he was poisoned by a jealous husband. Others point to syphilis. Some still say the devil came calling. Whatever the cause, the world lost him before it ever really had him. He left behind just 29 recorded songs. That's it. But those songs would ripple across generations, reshaping music forever. He was more than a legend. His lyrics were filled with omens, hellhounds, hoodoo magic, powder on the feet, whispers of damnation. He sang about things most men were too scared to name out loud. But underneath the ghost stories, and the guitar licks, was a man. The man who loved, who lost, who tried to find meaning in a world that rarely offered any. A man who turned pain into poetry and sorrow into something beautiful and terrifying. But Sinners isn't Robert Johnson's story, but it walks the path he helped carve, and is pretty similar. The film's darkness, its themes of temptation, guilt, and trading pieces of their soul to feel something again. All of it echoes Johnson's life. A man who may have wanted greatness, but never expected the ghost that would come with it. He didn't ask to be a myth, but myths don't ask for permission. A few people also said, like Keith Richards, he said there's just something supernatural about Robert. And Eric Clapton also said, I had found a master. But maybe the most human thing about him was the hurt. And that hurt still plays every time you hear the blues. Is Robert Johnson part of the famed and unfortunate 27 Club, where influential entertainers passed away at 27 years old like Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and Kurt Cobain?